This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffman and Riley Smith. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffman. Today is Tuesday, May the 31st, 2022. Hard to believe we're going to be turning the calendar again here tomorrow. Coming up in a little bit, I'll be talking with the Iowa Honey Producers Association President Jason Foley out at his apiary. We're going to talk about how he is doing livestock breeding with bees. I know it's not cattle and hogs, but it's still going to prove to be pretty interesting. I had a good time out there Friday learning all about the bees and learned more than I could ever hope to cover. We'll also have a check of your ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we have a holiday shortened trading week with yesterday's holiday, but today we are getting the markets closed, and we're talking right now with Robin Schmahl of Ag Dairy, which is with agmarket.net with John Stewart and Associates. Robin, thanks for taking a few minutes to talk with us today.
Thank you for having me on again, Dustin.
So I took a look at the markets here today, and boy, it did not look good at all on the grain side of things. What happened out there?
No, well, it wasn't a matter of, I think, a domino effect, really. For the most part, we saw wheat market fall, and that started spilling over into corn, and then we saw it spill over into soybeans. And now the wheat market, basically, you could contribute it to two different things. You know, India had banned wheat before that export, but then they said they would export or sell to countries on a government-to-government basis, not through private exporters. So that gives the impression that some wheat could still be moving, but on a government-to-government basis. But the bigger thing was Russia is allowing the Ukrainian wheat or Ukrainian products to be able to be shipped out to Turkey. And that in itself as news that some shipping will continue or will resume, I should say, really got going into the marketplace, that it isn't going to be quite as tight as it was anticipated. So even though we've got some bullish aspects in the commodity markets, the grains markets, that was trumped by the wheat and then the spillover effect into everything else. Now, corn and soybean export inspections today were not as great as it was the week before. We saw corn at 1.39 million metric tons. We saw soybeans at 378,262 tons. That was lower for both of them than the previous week, but China was the major buyer in both of them. So that still continues. Wheat export inspections were 343,927 tons. So we're seeing some movement, but not quite as what we'd like to be seeing. But yet still looking at planting progress this afternoon. We're going to be looking at progress that's going to be behind the expectations right now for corn at 86% complete. That would be a 14% rise from last week, but would still be about 9% lower than the previous year. Soybeans at 69% complete. That would be a 19% increase, down from 84% a year ago, and spring wheat at 70 or 67% relative to 49% last week and 97% a year ago. So that's a bullish aspect of the market because, you know, right now we're in many places in the Midwest it's the last planting date for your regular crop insurance. Now you go into a late planting period, which reduces your crop insurance. So, but I think with prices where they are right now, we're going to be looking at getting things planted.
And of course, you know, like you said, even with a less of a change to the crop insurance, it doesn't mean that there's nothing available. It just changes, you know, some of the coverage rates, correct?
Correct. It changes the coverage rate. And I really think we could be looking at, being a farmer myself, we want to put something in the ground. And I even think in some of those places, if it gets past the late planting period, I think things are going to be planted. They're just going to hope for the best and put something in the ground.
So how about the livestock side of things then today, Robin? How did that play out?
The livestock was under pressure, and that was a little bit surprising. Not so much in the live cattle side of it, because there's anticipation of lower cash. The trade is trying to anticipate what was the retail movement over the Memorial Day period. Show lists were not put out today. Packers are hesitant to really step into the market. No business was done, so it didn't have much to go to other than the anticipation of lower cash this week, because Packers have some cattle already purchased ahead, so they don't have to be very aggressive. Now, on the feeder cattle side, they're kind of hurting right now, because with that huge decline we've got in the grain markets and corn market particularly, feeder cattle just couldn't get it going. The traders just didn't buy into that market. We've eliminated all of the gains so far that we got since the last cattle on feed report in feeder cattle, and it almost looks like we're going to retest those lows again. So they're struggling. Now I want to move to the pork. Pork cutouts. Well, first of all, pork was under pressure, significant pressure. They gapped lower this morning and stayed under pressure all day. But noon cutouts were up $3.52 on the morning report. Now, that didn't have really much impact. The Dairy Direct morning cash report was up 55 cents. That really didn't have any impact. The concerns seem to stem from overall pork movement over the Memorial Day holiday. And we don't know what exactly those numbers are, but when you get a concern that ripples through the market, it can trump a lot of other things until we actually get those actual numbers coming out.
All right. Well, a lot of stuff happening today, a lot of information to pass on. Robin, if folks want to make some marketing adjustments, look at some plans, how do they get in touch with the folks at agmarket.net?
You can call me directly at 877-256-3253, or they can go to our website, agmarket.net. Phone number is on there. Contact information is on there.
All right, Robin, we thank you so much for the information. We'll talk again real soon.
All right. Thank you, Dustin. Have a good week.
Well, that again was Robin Schmahl of agmarket.net. Let's go ahead and run down those closing numbers. That comes to us courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. July corn was down 23 3/4 at 753.5. December new crop down 18.5 at 711.5. July beans down 49 cents at 1683 1/4. November new crop down 34.5 at 1509.5. Soy meal for August down $16.90 at 410.40. Soy oil down $1.11 at 76.38. Chicago wheat down 68 3/4 at 1097.5. Minneapolis down 57 1/4 at 1247.5. Kansas wheat down 69 1/4 at 1172. September oats down a nickel at 641.5. August live cattle down $2.02 at 130.37. August feeders down $1.20 at 165.12. Lean hogs down $2.42 at 107.97. Pork cutouts down $2.45 at 112.05. And Class 3 milk, it was down a penny at 25.18. And that's been a check of our ag market recap. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ag weather outlook. Well, the sun has returned for the most part here to Des Moines, and we did see some rain shower activity push through the state here earlier this morning and make its way throughout the day across the state. Now we're going to look at some sunshine returning for tomorrow and possibly some cooler temperatures. Let's see what the National Weather Service has in store for the next 24 hours. We started the day with a line of showers that moved across the state and then gave way to some clearing, a little bit of sunshine poking through, and we saw highs today ranging from the low 70s to the low 80s. Now tonight it'll be mostly clear across most of the state, but the eastern part of the state could see a few thunderstorms, and we'll see lows from the upper 40s to the upper 50s. And then tomorrow, variably cloudy skies across much of the state, a better chance of rain to the south, but still a chance of showers across the state, and high anywhere from the upper 60s to the mid-70s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map for tomorrow, Cherokee will see mostly sunny skies and 68. Shenandoah will see cloudy skies and about a 60% chance of rain in 69. Des Moines will see partly cloudy skies, a 20% chance of rain in 71. Waterloo looking for sunny skies in 69. Albia will see partly sunny skies and a 20% chance of rain in 69. Clinton will see partly sunny skies and 74 degrees. For more detailed forecasts in your area, tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliates. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I find out what all the buzz is about at an Indianola bee farm. We'll come back here on Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Well, on Friday, I was down in Indianola at the Honey Hollow Apiary and Gardens, where I got to visit with the Iowa Honey Producers Association President Jason Foley, and we talked about livestock production in the beehives south of Des Moines. So I know this is not my usual outfit when you see me in front of the camera here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, but we're out here in Indianola today to talk about bees. Now, obviously, there's something that we have talked about a lot, and they have their own set of controversy as it was, but there's a lot to know about them, and there's a lot to learn about them, especially for those of us who like to go to the markets or go to the stores and buy that delicious honey, and the work being done here in Iowa to help keep these bees going and help bring those products to our shelves is a great story, and that's why we're down here today to find out what the buzz is all about. I had the chance to visit with Jason Foley. He runs Honey Hollow in Indianola, and we talked about his operation. Now, when we think about livestock operations in Iowa, we probably think cattle and hogs. We don't think about bees. And Jason Foley is helping us understand what it means to be a livestock producer with those little yellow and black creatures.
Well, I mean, as a beekeeper, you obviously make honey. Or you don't make it, the bees make it, you extract it and you bottle it and etc. It's really a small portion of my business because I'm mainly on the breeding side for other beekeepers, but you just can't get away from it. You've got to do something with the honey. So we go ahead and we extract in August and we'll bottle it up, or we'll put it into big drums and then we'll dole it out throughout the year. But the wife and I thought, let's go ahead and start up a little farmstead, homestead type store and have it in the lower level of our home here. So in addition to the honey, we also have beekeeping equipment that I make in my wood shop. If any of the stuff has wood there, it's all stuff that I've actually made myself. The plastic, obviously, I buy in. But that gives me time in the wintertime when bees are off pollinating crops in California. I can just play around in my wood shop making anything I want. I'm on the livestock side of the business mainly.
Okay.
I make queens to sell to honey producers.
Okay.
So I'm always out here going ahead and taking 4 of these colonies, making them queenless, and I do a manual type of grafting that I put larvae in all these little plastic cups and I hang them under frames and I drop them down inside the hives, and then these queenless hives, each hive breeds me out 90 new queens. And then those queens, when those cells are ready, they go into those little styrofoam boxes on all those stands over there, and the queens hatch out, they go on a mating flight, they come back, and when they're laying eggs, I pluck them out of there and I mail them all over the United States.
Okay, interesting.
But I always keep these hives around to go ahead and make me the queens then for that over there. And then I've got bee yards everywhere around here within a half mile to a mile and a half for drone source colonies, because I do most livestock industries, you have your specialty breeds. So you got your Black Angus steer, your Wagyu beef, your Holsteins, they're all breeds within cattle that have specific traits. I raise Russian bees, which are real winter hardy and they're mite resistant, so that's why people like them, is for those 2 aspects. And I try to keep the genetics pure with a closed mating area by having only my colonies within a mile and a half of me. Queens will fly up to a mile for mating purposes.
Okay.
And anybody that has bees within that realm that is a hobbyist, I just give them free queens, so it's still my genetics.
Now, Jason does breed these queen bees to distribute all across the country. And you may know about queen bees. You may have even heard about worker bees. But I did not know that there were so many jobs within the colony. The colony's main goal is to keep itself sustained throughout its life and keep rehabbing itself so it can always keep growing for the future. That includes a queen bee, worker bees, also the drone bees, which are the males, also scout bees, and even guard bees. Now, the only males are the drone bees. Otherwise, the colony is about 95% female, and the drones only have one purpose, and that is to breed the next generation of bees. And while the lifespan for any bee in a colony other than the queen is about 45 days, for these drone bees, it may even be shorter. But because of their importance to the colony and keeping the population going, they do have quite the life. Some of you husbands listening may wish for that life yourself, while some of you wives out there may say, that's pretty much what my husband does already.
Literally a drone. He wakes up in the morning, he gets fed by trophallaxis, or he gets fed by hand by all the girl bees, day in and day out. Around 11 o'clock in the day, he'll fly off for half an hour to a drone congregation yard trying to pick up a chick. Then he flies back to the colony, and all the girls feed him again, and he'll fly out, and they'll keep doing that until about 2 o'clock in the day. So he really only works from 11 to 2, and it's just trying to pick up chicks. And then he just stays in the colony the rest of the day and is fed. And he does that over and over and over and over again until he finally meets a queen bee and can mate with her. And unfortunately, after mating in the insect kingdom, he also dies, just like a lot of other insects.
Now, even though Foley is in the business of breeding queens to get new colonies off the ground, you can't get away from one simple fact. Bees do one thing and do it very well, and that's produce honey. So even though Foley isn't in the business of selling honey, he does get honey at least once a year so it doesn't go to waste, and that is what he does sell in the store.
Me being a queen producer, I'm shooting myself in the foot every time I'm trying to do the livestock side, because I'm looking at it as, oh, that's a big, beautiful hive that's got great genetics. Let's knock that down and turn it into a cell builder and breed a bunch of queens off of it. And then I'll be able to sell that to my customers. Or, oh my gosh, this is a great hive. Let's turn it into 2-3 hives, because I want to have a whole bunch of hives to go out for pollination services in the wintertime. So whenever I'm doing that, I'm resetting the hive, because there's going to be 30 days, well, not 30, ballpark 1 month of brood that a queen's not laying in there, not keeping up the population into a large amount at that point, and 30 days of lack of children being born in that hive really affects the amount of honey they would be bringing in. All in all, I mean, my little operation of 200 colonies and 500 some mating nukes and blah, blah, blah there, I produce anywhere from 3 to 8 barrels of honey in a year. So, and that's 55-gallon drum.
And not only does Foley have his own business with Honey Hollow, he's also the president of the Iowa Honey Producers.
The Iowa Honey Producers is a statewide organization that we do different fundraisers. We try to bring in money a few different ways to immediately be able to hire big name speakers from across the U.S. that are professionals in the beekeeping field to come in and educate younger beekeepers. We have an annual conference where we bring in speakers over the course of 2 days there that will just from morning to evening be giving talks on all sorts of subject matter, from newbie stuff on up to genetics, on up to breakdown of different chemicals and how tank mixes could affect beekeeping, the profiles of pollen nutrition, just all sorts of stuff there. And we're giving back to the community by bringing in all these people for the education aspect. In addition to that, we have a honey queen program where it's at a national level, where we go ahead and we have a statewide competition. We try to find young teens that have a really good background in beekeeping, and we try to foster that even further. and we'll elect one queen for the state of Iowa, and she for a year will travel around Iowa visiting schools, libraries, scout groups, 4-H groups, senior homes, anywhere doing public outreach and getting really comfortable with public speaking. And then she goes on to nationals to try to get the national honey queen position and then conduct that same type of business all throughout the United States. So again, it's educational outreach. We have a youth scholarship program where we take teens from across the state of Iowa, and as long as they fill out the criteria for our application form and their families agree to the different conditions we've set up, we give them free bees, we give them free hive equipment, we give them free accessory equipment like bee suits, smokers, stuff like that, and we set them up with a mentor, and we pay for educational classes for them to take so that they can get a rock solid foundation in beekeeping, so that if they really love it, in future years they can be successful with it and turn it into a business themselves. We've got the Buzz newsletter we send out. Our website there has a public outreach that if you're interested in getting into beekeeping, it has a listing of all the cities and townships in the state of Iowa, and if they allow bees and what the rules and regulations are, because some towns will allow you to have 2 colonies. Some have no limit on them. Some say you can't have them at all. And it's a great resource to be able to figure out if you should or shouldn't have bees in your city. So that's the Iowa honey producers.
You can learn more about the Iowa honey producers by visiting their website, and you can also learn more about Honey Hollow Apiary and Gardens by visiting the website they have as well. We aren't done talking about bees yet because, of course, as we know, bees and agriculture are a hot-button topic right now. And we'll talk with Jason about the relationship between bees and agriculture, where things were, where things have come, and where things could possibly be going in the future. So look for that to be coming very soon. For the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network in Indianola, I'm Dustin Huffman. And again, that was Jason Foley, president of the Iowa Honey Producers Association. We will be talking in the coming days about how agriculture interacts with bee production. We're talking about where things were, where things are going, and what we've learned here in the process. And just like that, we're at the end of Ag Matters PM for today. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and find our video content as well as past episodes of AM PM on our YouTube channel. Don't forget about our twice daily free market podcasts. You can find them on Google, Amazon, Apple, Podbean, and Spotify. From the IRN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Avery Haskell and Riley Smith, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.